great sort of a pride in telling, because I am spiritual but not religious. It is as if, to be religious is something inferior and to be spiritual is, you are something elevated. It could be, because after all you don't lose your human qualities, you are always elevated. The very purpose of the religion is to make ourselves human, more human than what we are. We may not be human enough to be what we are. As Immanuel Kant has said, we may be treating the human beings and the end. We may not. We may be treating the human beings and the means, but we may not be treating the human beings as the end. Because we are not be giving the same sort of respect and everything as we are having to another person. Because we have got, in our life we have got our own sort of a status, and we have got own way of life. We have got own way of thinking and one way of behaving and living in this life. We may be doing all those things. We may not be still be doing it. But religion, because basically what happens in fact, in one of the lectures, Swami Vivekananda says, you are ordained to be religious even in the womb. The moment, you are being, before you are being brought into this world, you become a committed religious person and come. The religious person is, you will be able to be accord, to know who you are, as well as treat others as you are. That is what he says religion. So you may be a great religious person, but if you are not able to treat others, because that is no effect at all. But to be religious is not bad. To be religious is the means by which you can do. Like in science, you have got theory and practice, where you have to work in the lab and prove it. In the chemistry lab, you will have to create, because phthalic acid, if you want to do, you will have to prepare that. And if the theory, you will be able to science, what are all the ingredients, what is the process, and what are all the reactions that takes place, you do that. You have got a theory and practice. The religion is like that. It imbibes the value, and the rituals are like the practice to slowly bring you to the highest level to realize. It is not that, because I am not religious, I don't bother, because it's all meaningless things. It is not meaningless because you have not understood, nor you have taken effort to understand. This is exactly the problems with the current day sort of youngsters, some of them, but most of them are more enlightened, I should say. They are more enlightened than us. They are gone through it. In fact, they are talking about the lingo, which most of us were not talking, in our time at their age. In fact, because I'm very happy to see, because the current generation is growing by far the best. But then you have got so many people, who say, because they say, look, we don't have any time. You're wasting. Okay, you may be wasting the time. It is not the time component what you are giving. It is the intensity and the effort, sincerity you are giving into that. See, for instance, we are doing, the everyday the ritual, the Sandhya Vandanam, 3 times we are doing it. So we may not be doing, all through, because we might have done sometimes, we might have discontinued, we may be doing it because not so regularly. But now I think, we may be doing it, because we have got the time and we may not, so many things are there. But everything, because there is a way in the religion, how to do it and all. It's not that, you totally, don't have to do it. But why we are doing it, because there is always every time when you write it, because like when the Argyam, when we say it's a Vajrayutam, when you give it, it takes away all your raga, dvesha, kama, moha, mada, mascharya, ahankara, bhava, everything, it takes away. When it takes away, that is the one which has to become, once you make a good person. And then when you do, because even the marjanam and all, when you say ojosi, because when you say, because in the Gayatri before that ojosi, in the sense you bring the entire energy into you. And Subhavino Mukhakarat, when you say, Tadikravanya Karisham, Subhavino Mukharat, when you say that, let my words come with a fragrance. See, whenever your words come out, when you are talking to someone, you should be able to attracting people. You should not be repulsive. By talking a very hard and hating language and all. Because people should be able to. The sweetness of the words should be there, and the fragrance of the power of your mind should be reflective into it. because fragrance of the word will attract a lot of people. Like Swami Vivekananda, when he talked about it, is fragrance of his own mind, fragrance of his own thoughts. It was reverberating all through, and when you are talking, people will automatically come to you, and not only that, you will be able to really interact, give your best to them, and get the best out of them. Any discussion is not a sort of the monologue. It is a dialogue, because always when you do, even people are silent, they are conveying it to you something else. You should be able to take it and absorb it and understand it, absorb it and take it into your internal core, because that is the purpose of it. So that is exactly what this entire thing has been talked about. That is exactly because what we are attempting to. Because when you are doing it, it is not the simple way of simply reciting and all. All these things are helpful, but don't stick on only be stuck on to the rituals and the religiosity, showing that religiosity is showing others that you are religious. No one is bothered whether you are religious or not. You have to be religious for yourself. Because when we are doing morning and when we are doing, because all these, if vibhuti, people are playing, or, because the namam people are playing and everything and all, when they do, the Urdhva Kundara, when you say, when you put, you are taking the Kundalini up. So thoughts go up, when you give a pressure, when you are applying it, automatically, this acupressure takes place and the thoughts elevate, take you at that level. When you do every day and when you do sandhi, because when you are doing offering the prayachitta and when you are doing the entire mantras to elevate you, not only that, it takes away all your toxicity, because toxic thoughts that bombards us. See, it is not always good thoughts come, but when the thoughts comes, you will have to simply observe and reject. It's not that you will be able to sift each thought and all. They will be coming in a facility, but then you will have to be, you should not give any attention to that. That will happen when you are doing these rituals. We can see people how they are talking, because when the Kanchi Shankaracharya and all, when they talked about and all, we know how they have talked and how they have found it, because their Agnya Chakra was active. So the Kundalini, because the rituals, what they are doing every day as a matter of routine, practice, it is a must to be in the being, to be in the, then it is not that you could be spiritual, but without these practices help you to take you into that level. And you may write a tree on a paper that will only denote tree, but only when you go and actually see a tree, touch its bark and touch its flowers and touch its leaves, then you understand. It is like the ritual is like that. The rituals are very important. Religiosity is something, which always develop you into the higher plane. But you don't have to be too religious because people are trying to be too religious only to show others. You don't have to be, because you may be religious, but within the confines of your house, in the confines of your walls, you may not be doing, all these ostentatious, the practices, but, by mind and the intellect, you are constantly focusing on and you are trying to have the thoughts like that and all. And the simple practices, it's not a very, very detailed practice. And you can do in 5 minutes also a puja and 5 hours also a puja. It's not the hour that is important, but your mindfulness in those even 5 seconds if you are doing. Even if you are in front of your, because your separate location in your house where the energy is full, that has to be there. Then alayam, because alaya is where you are getting merged. When you are getting into the temple, what you do? You leave your chappals, and sometimes you will have to leave your vehicle also. You maybe 50 lakhs vehicle, you will have to leave out. Then you go there. Likewise, when you are doing, in your own rituals, you will have to leave all other thoughts, all other engagements, phone calls, what is likely to happen. You be there at that point of time. And then, because alayam is alayaha in Sanskrit, they say when you go to the temple, because it's a consecrated place. When God is everywhere, the energy has been consecrated at one particular place so that it can be distributed to the people who come and have it. But are they getting it? That is the problem. But you go there and you think of so many other things, but you don't get merged. But when you go and come out of the temple, you have to leave all your this dasagriva, because Raha, Dvesha, Kama, Moha, all those things you leave it and you have to come with a pristine pure person out. But instead of that, because we as we leave the chapels, but we don't leave all these our thoughts. We take our thoughts also inside the temple. We come and so this is exactly this concept that has been explained in this. This is basically Om is just when it is recited from the Nabi and it takes away the entire being. As we were telling, when you are doing a Brahmari in yoga, by closing your eyes and closing your ears, when you recite from the Nabi, when it reverberates the entire body and you get the energy all through the body, that is what this Om is again. And with this, he has highlighted the essentials of Om, because it is the every mantra starts with Om. And every mantra finally in the Brahma Sutram, which is written by the Vyasa, which is the sort of without which you will not be able to understand the Vedas or Upanishad, it always starts with Om and ends with Om. It is being covered in the protective security of Om. It is such a great protector of entire things. So that is why Om is so high. He given so much importance. Next mantra onwards, he is going to take. And in fact, you will find some of you who are familiar with Gita, whether it is Gita, whether it is Kathopanishad. It is absolutely be, you will finding it is nothing but the Gita. Because some of the verses have been taken as it is from here to Gita. Because Vedanta is in Upurushiya much earlier. So when Gita has been recited by Krishna and written by Vyasa, some of the mantras have already come here, and we will see what is that. Because with all these things, we will always have to keep in mind the highest bliss that Om can offer. The Om is the first and primordial syllabus that will be guiding not only this world now and here, it will be eternally guiding everything else. That's what Emma wants to say. With this, we will be closing our today's session, and we will be going for a meditation. Last week we couldn't go through the meditation. It is a suktam called Ratri Suktam. Ratri